Level 1. Broke but dangerous. You are 22 years old. Your bank account says $437. You refresh it anyway. You don't come from money. No family trust. No safety net. Just ambition that feels slightly delusional. You scroll past photos of private jets and penthouses and tell yourself something dangerous. That could be me. You don't want comfort. You want scale. At this level, you have nothing to lose. That's your only advantage. You work a job you don't respect. You save aggressively. You study obsessively. You watch interviews of founders at 2 a.m. You learn about equity, leverage, markets, distribution. You start your first idea. It fails. Your second idea. It fails faster. Your third idea makes $3,000. You feel invincible. Then it collapses. This level teaches you the first truth. Money rewards leverage, not effort. You don't need to work harder. You need systems. And now you're dangerous. Level 2. The first $100,000. You stop trying random ideas. You focus. One product, one skill, one scalable path. Maybe it's software. Maybe it's media. Maybe it's a niche service that no one notices but everyone needs. You work 12-hour days, not because it sounds cool, because you're obsessed. You stop going out. You stop explaining yourself. Your friends say you've changed. You have. Your income hits $10,000 a month, then $20,000. You check your bank account and see 6 figures for the first time. You don't feel rich. You feel validated. This is where most people plateau. They upgrade the apartment, buy the car, relax. You don't, because you realize something bigger. $100,000 isn't wealth. It's proof of concept. Now you want scale. Level 3, the first million. This is where the shift happens. You stop thinking in dollars. You start thinking in ownership. You hire your first employee, then 5, then 20. Your calendar fills with investor calls, partnerships, negotiations. You're no longer doing the work. You're building the machine. Revenue crosses 7 figures. You feel powerful, but also exposed. Because now you understand risk. One bad decision can wipe out years of progress. You learn about debt. You learn about dilution. You learn that investors smile while negotiating your percentage down. This level teaches you the second truth. Control matters more than cash. You can make $1 million and still be replaceable. You want leverage that doesn't disappear. So you scale. Harder. Level 4. $10 million. The illusion of arrival. You are now objectively rich. Luxury becomes normal. You fly business class without thinking. You move into a home that once looked impossible. People treat you differently. Old acquaintances resurface. You're invited into rooms you weren't allowed in before. But something changes. Money doesn't excite you the same way. You thought $10 million would feel like winning. Instead, it feels like responsibility. Payroll, expansion, regulation, competition. Now you're competing against killers. People smarter, faster, and just as obsessed. This level teaches you the third truth. To get rich, you grind. To stay rich, you evolve. You can't operate like a founder anymore. You have to become a strategist. You stop asking, how do I make money? You start asking, how do I dominate markets? Level 5, $100 million. The game changes. Now, you don't just own a company. You influence an industry. Your name appears in business magazines. Investors approach you instead of the other way around. You diversify. Private equity, real estate, other startups. You no longer trade time for money. You deploy capital. This is where you realize the system isn't about income. It's about assets. Assets generate cash. Cash buys assets. The flywheel starts spinning. But pressure intensifies. You face lawsuits, public scrutiny, employees who resent you, competitors who want you destroyed. At this level, mistakes are expensive and public. This level teaches you the fourth truth. Scale amplifies everything. Your strengths multiply. Your flaws explode. So you tighten your circle. You become more guarded, more strategic, more calculated. Level 6, $500 million. Isolation. You are now wealthier than entire towns. Your lifestyle is private security, private meetings, private islands. But something else becomes private too. Your trust. You realize most people don't see you. They see access. You notice how conversations subtly shift. People pitch you constantly, ask for favors, try to attach themselves to you. The higher you rise, the thinner the air gets. You're no longer competing with entrepreneurs. You're competing with institutions, governments, banks, global players. You start thinking globally. Tax strategy, international expansion, political relationships. You don't just build businesses, you build influence. And influence compounds faster than money ever did. Level 7, the billion. It doesn't happen in one moment. It's gradual. A valuation jump, an exit, an IPO, a liquidity event. And then one day you check your net worth. 10 digits. You expected fireworks. Instead, it's quiet. You sit in your office, or on your jet, or in a penthouse overlooking a city you partially shaped, and you realize something unsettling. The number didn't change who you are. It amplified who you already were. If you were insecure, you're now insulated and insecure. If you were generous, you now have the power to transform cities. If you were ruthless, you are now untouchable. The final truth reveals itself. Money doesn't create character. It exposes it. Level 8, power beyond money. Now the game isn't wealth, it's legacy. You fund foundations, acquire media companies, influence elections indirectly, shape public narratives. You realize money is only one form of power. Control of information, control of infrastructure, control of policy. These are higher tiers. You sit at tables where trillion-dollar decisions are discussed casually. You see how the world actually moves. And you understand something most people never will. Billionaires don't just participate in the system. They influence the rules. Level 9, the cost. There is always a cost. Maybe it's your health, years of stress, sleep deprivation, cortisol running your bloodstream. Maybe it's relationships, divorces, children who grew up around boardrooms instead of dinner tables. Maybe it's paranoia, security teams, NDIs, a constant awareness that visibility invites threat. At this level, privacy becomes priceless, and normal life becomes rare. You can buy almost anything, except anonymity. Level 10, the real question. You started this journey wanting freedom. Now you have it, financially at least. But here's the final realization. Money removes constraints. It doesn't remove desire. If you don't define what enough means, the climb never ends. There is always another billion, another acquisition, another expansion. The ladder extends infinitely upward. And here's the truth nobody tells you at level 1. Becoming a billionaire is less about money and more about who you're willing to become. Because every level demands a trade. Time for capital, control for scale, trust for protection, peace for dominance. The world celebrates the outcome, but very few understand the evolution. You didn't just earn $1 billion. You became someone capable of holding it. And that transformation was the real cost. You wanted wealth. What you built instead was power.